Alrighty, welcome back for another episode of Two Plan Sports. Today is February 1st of February. It's the coldest month of the year here in Oklahoma, and we're joined with Rondell Bothroyd, and he's coming in from Wake Forest. We're here for an interview to introduce him to Sooner Nation. So, he's coming into Oklahoma. It's a little cold, but he's from Connecticut, so this is probably nothing for him. But yeah, so we'll get into it now. So, Rondell, I just want to say, welcome to Norman. You're coming in. What's your first initial takeaway to Oklahoma? I assume you've been on campus for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
How's the transition been?
It's been pretty good. People making it easy. Staff, teammates making it pretty easy. Definitely, yeah. It's windy. It's cold, but the wind makes it definitely way different. And then these snow days are a little weird, but transition's been pretty good. Still trying to settle in, figure out places to eat, places to chill, places just to meet people and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've been getting used to it.
Definitely. If you as an athlete, do you get access to Headington Hall's cafeteria still? I know back when we were in school, that was like where most of the athletes went.
I'm not sure if we get access. Like, we've had breakfast there a few times.
Okay. Well, definitely. If you can get in there to eat pretty regularly, I would suggest it. That's the one thing I missed once I started getting into upper class, and not on campus. But so obviously you came from the transfer portal. You were at Wake Forest. Can you kind of tell us like the experience of just making the decision to want to enter the portal, how it was to even get to Oklahoma, and how that worked for you?
So basically I graduated from Wake, and then had a few good seasons, and figured it was just time to move on, time to see if there's other stuff out there for me, like bigger schools, bigger opportunities to put my name on a higher pedestal, kind of, because like to go to the next level. So I decided against going to the league, because I probably went like late round, maybe undrafted, especially because I didn't play too much the last few games of the season. So it was a pretty easy decision just to test my luck, and then some big schools hit me up, and then I had to like narrow it down really quick because the time frame I did it in was short, and we got like 4 days to do visits and all that. So it was a tough week and a half, kind of. But then narrowing it down made it a little easier, but then it was still tough. And then getting over to Oklahoma was pretty obvious, the choice I could make.
Yeah, so obviously you visited Oklahoma. I assume you took some other visits to other schools? Were there like a top 3, top 4 that you might have had, narrowing it down?
Yeah. Top schools are probably like Auburn, Notre Dame, Penn State, and then USC. And then I only visited Auburn and Oklahoma.
So what stood out to you the most? Like what was the thing that made you decide, all right, I should be in Norman rather than down to Auburn? Because I'm sure, and being part of the SEC with Auburn might have been something that you considered with the talent and how defensive linemen get drafted out of that conference.
Yeah, it was definitely hard to turn down, but I got here, and then just knowing Coach V's track record with D linemen, and knowing that last year was his first year, and it's hard to judge a first year all the time, with all the guys he lost and the ups and downs they had. So I feel like it's easy for people to question why I chose it, but when I got here, it kind of felt like home, and it just felt like a place I would want to spend this last year at, and try to help improve the defense and just improve the program overall.
Yeah, and with Coach Venables being from Clemson, and while you were playing at Wake, did that familiarity play a factor at all? Knowing, going against him, and obviously you weren't playing offense, but just seeing what his defense were, how they performed and everything else that you played against him.
No, it wasn't. I don't think it played that much, but it was cool. It was cool to just see, like his side of things, because I sat there for 4 years, and watched him just get after our offense, get after everyone in the ACC. So it was cool just to see his side of things when we sat down and watched film for a little bit. But yeah, it wasn't too much of a factor.
How's the like getting into the locker room and all that stuff? All the guys having to pretty much, in a way, be a freshman all over again. I'm sure it's probably a little different because your experience, you kind of have, what it's like to be a college student. But what's that been like?
It's been easy. The guys in the locker room are cool, making it pretty easy. It's definitely I'm more of a shy guy, so I'm like to myself a little bit. But I've been trying to talk to guys and just make a simple friendship, just to make it easier the transition. But yeah, the guys in the locker room are great, funny. We're working hard right now, so nothing there that isn't great.
Yeah. So the transition from Wake Forest to Oklahoma, what are some of the biggest differences that you see between the two programs, maybe coaching staff? And obviously Wake's in a pretty cool place. Wake's a pretty cool college in general. So what are the biggest differences that you're seeing between the two programs?
Biggest difference, obviously size. Like, amount of people that went to Wake is less than, like, I think it's like 25%. That Wake is like 6,000, and then here is what, like 30 something. So I think that's the biggest difference is size. And then, like, Wake's on the come up with football culture, but here you hear stories and, like, you see videos, you just know that, like, the football culture is everything here because there's not much else. And then at Wake, it's like this school's small, so, like, there's not that many alumni, but there's a lot of alumni here. So it's kind of just size is the biggest difference because, like, my teammates were just as great, coaches were great. So it was not really anything specific, I wouldn't say, so far. But that's the one thing I've noticed, just like size.
So you guys have at Wake Forest, you guys had pretty good last couple of seasons. The offense was doing really well. Defense was really starting to improve. Did you guys feel disrespected? Because I feel like not this last season, but the season before, you guys had a really good year, but were never really talked about, like, in the national media with, like, could Wake Forest be contending for a playoff spot? Where weren't you guys 11-1, if I remember correctly?
We finished 11-3, I think. Yeah, we finished 11-3, lost the ACC championship. Yeah, I think overall Wake Forest is disrespected and underlooked, and that was part of the reason I had to decide to not go back there for a 6 year, just because, like, I feel like a lot of stuff is politics. So, like media attention might help my draft stock, and just playing at a bigger school. So it was a decision. Like, I love Wake. They gave me all. Like, I gave it all they had. They gave me all they had. But yeah, they definitely are undercredited, just because we put all the same work in that everybody else does, and we beat somebody and it's like, oh, they had an off day or like something like that. So it was getting pretty tiring. But I think the next few years they'll have a lot more respect, just because we've been doing it for the last three years, I think.
And Wake's known for, they have a pretty good program as far as, school wise, as, in accounting and finance and things like that. What was your undergrad degree that you got from there?
Health and exercise science.
Health and exercise. And are you getting a master's from OU in that as well, or?
No, it's not that. I don't think I would have gotten into that program. It's like a leadership kind of program that I would do for like a year.
What's it been like talking about, like, health and, what you got your undergrad in, getting to work out with Schmitty, a guy that in the health and conditioning with collegiate sports is kind of well known for being one of the better guys to lead that part of a football program.
No, he's great. You hear a lot of stories about him, and then you work out with him, and he's great. He knows what he's talking about. The whole staff does. Coach Dobson. They all know what they're doing, and they want what's best for us. And they've been emphasizing a lot last year's record, which obviously I wasn't here for, but I understand, because my first few years at Wake, it was kind of the same. Like, you barely make a bowl or stuff like that, and you're supposed to be good. So we've been getting after it. It's tough with these snow days, but we've been definitely getting after it.
So the Oklahoma schedule just came out finally. The Big 12 has been holding out, and they finally released their schedule. Yeah. So it came out today. So it looks like, as far as the new opponents that are coming in the conference, OU's going to play UCF at home, and then it looks like you've also got at BYU, which I think will be a pretty cool road trip out there in November. And then you've also got at Cincinnati in late September. I was going to ask you, so coming in, What game are you most excited for to play in? I mean, is it the Cotton Bowl? Is it Bedlam? Or is there another game that excites you?
Yeah, I mean, both of those. You hear a lot about the Texas game and just how packed it is, how the energy is, regardless of how good the teams are that year. And then, yeah, Bedlam. Obviously, I would love to get to like the playoffs and play one of those games because we can do it. But probably those two games, and then hopefully a bigger game like that would be great.
Talking about the Texas game, I hope that you put out some highlights during that game because, boy, we need to get some revenge on those guys. 49-0 is all they really got right now. But you mentioned that something the coaches are emphasizing is last year's record. And, you mentioned clearly you weren't there. Do you feel like in the locker room there's an added, maybe like a chip on the shoulder, kind of, we got to go out there and prove that that record really isn't a representation of what Coach V is and what this program is going to be?
Yeah, I can't really compare from from what it was last year or whatever, but I definitely know you can tell like that all the players have the same chip on their shoulder that the strength coaches do, that the coaches do, and it's kind of like rubbing off on me. And I wasn't here last year, that's a great thing, and I think it's going to be a good thing just to start it, to get this off season working, because I don't think Coach V had it last year. I think they were talking about that too, just how they didn't really get their hands on the team as much as they wanted to in the off season. So it kind of like put them back for the next season. So this year I think it's going to start from like square one where Coach V wanted it, and I think we'll get started off on the right foot.
Yeah. So, and then kind of going back to your transfer portal, I'm just more curious about just the whole process because this is still kind of new.
Yeah.
So when you make the decision, you just enter your name in, and I guess your program where you're at releases you or something. Is it like your phone immediately starts blowing up? Obviously you were coveted by big programs. I mean, what was that like? I just, that whole process going through it.
Yeah. It was actually a funny story. I was just sitting at my aunt's house. And I called our compliance guy because I figured out I wanted to enter the transfer portal, and I got everything cleared with him, and he was like, "All right, your name's in the transfer portal." So I thought I had time to make a post, and I thought I was going to be the one to announce it, but I guess when you put your name in the transfer portal, there's it goes on a database or something, and people can see that. So not even 3 minutes after I got off the phone, there was a bunch of tweets. And people call random numbers just calling me, so it was pretty hectic. Obviously grateful, I'm grateful for all the attention, but it was pretty hectic, especially when you don't know who's calling you. You don't know if it's not. Yeah, it was crazy. It was definitely way more than high school, but it was kind of overwhelming because I thought I was gonna be the one to announce it, and I was like, damn, now I gotta make a post. I had to rush and make a post, and hell yeah, it was a little hectic.
So talking about you as a player and how it seems like you're going to be, contributing to this team next year. You at Wake Forest, and sorry, I'm going to be completely honest. I watched a little bit. That's why I knew kind of you guys have been doing well over the last few years, but it's not like I was watching every single game.
Right.
How do you think you're going to impact this team? Are you playing a lot of position wise? Are you playing edge? Are you going to be asked to go into the interior? And then what do you see there for yourself in next year's season?
I think regardless, right now I'm playing outside, but regardless, I think Coach V's defense is perfect for a player like me, just because I feel like I have a good sense of where the ball is, and then Coach V's defense puts you where the ball is, so that's a good they go hand in hand. But I think with all the players we have, with all the players we got in the transfer portal, I think we'll be able to create one-on-ones and create havoc in the backfield with the movements and the defensive schemes that Coach V has. So I think I'm a great fit, and hopefully get a taste of it in spring, and then in the fall make a noise of it.
Yeah, hopefully we can put together a spring game like we did last year, where we had 70,000 fans in there, and
that'd be crazy.
do all that. Yeah. So Going back to your high school recruiting, coming out of high school, you're from Connecticut. You
Yeah.
know, just looking at your 247 page, obviously you had an offer from Wake Forest, but you also had offers from like Temple, Boston College, and some smaller schools in Massachusetts. What was the decision process, or what was that like? Deciding to kind of venture away from home and going to a
Yeah.
school like Wake Forest rather than going to like Boston College or something like that, or Connecticut.
Yeah. I was originally committed to Temple, which was closer to home, but coming out of high school, I thought I wanted to get away from home just to like get the college experience. And then my coach at Wake Forest, he was a great coach, or a great recruiter. And my mom and grandma loved him. Loved Coach Clausen too, the head coach. So it was hard to turn down the ACC along with the academic part of it, because obviously a degree from Wake Forest speaks a lot. So I think just the ACC and the academics, and then my mom and grandma liking it was pretty easy.
So talking about recruiting, and you don't have to go too far into it, but a lot of fans, whenever things don't go their way when it comes to getting a guy either from the transfer portal or from high school recruiting nowadays, always say, well, some, X team, X program dropped a bag because of NIL.
Yeah.
Do you feel like NIL's really become a huge part in this recruiting cycle, or is it still a lot of relationship based and what the program can do for you to get to the next level?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to go down the wrong road. And then it's going to end up like being like kind of like professional and like the pros, but before the pros. But you see some schools like they prioritize the bag that they give kids, and then they either don't get the money or they end up leaving because they're not happy or whatever, like something like that. Or schools getting the wrong kids because they're prioritizing money. But I think programs that can find like the middle ground, like having a way to give kids money because that's what college football is now, so you can't really avoid it. And programs that still try to spread love to the whole team, try to prioritize culture, will definitely put the programs that are too much money below, and then programs that give no money below too. So I think programs that can find that middle ground with the money and just keeping their culture and not trying to bribe kids to come to school will really be important.
It seems like a lot of times when things happen, new things emerge. It seems like the middle ground always eventually evens out, and that's where everyone ends up. And that's where it appears that Oklahoma is in, where they're trying to do some, but not ridiculous or anything like that. Which is, I feel like, is the right thing to do. So a lot of kids we've talked to who's transferred or have committed to Oklahoma, coming out of high school, they all speak about the soul mission. And I like to ask, from, obviously we're outsiders looking in. What's your experience on that? I assume that Coach V and the staff try to, they've sold you on that. What's your experience with that?
I mean, so far it's been great. They, like, right when I got here, I think it was a few days after, we did it's called the Bridge in Western Oklahoma City, or Eastern, it's one East or West, and basically just like picked up the street, helped kids like read and stuff like that, organize clothes for churches and stuff like that. So I think the idea of it is great, and they've already got it rolling. They did a bunch of stuff, bunch of trips. Like, I think spring break, I'm going to Brazil with them for it's like a mission trip kind of. You go down there and have a project to do, and you do the project. So it's cool, but at the same time, it's like life-changing stuff, and like community service and all that kind of stuff is great. It's great for our program, and it's great for the community too, because it shows that we're like, it's bigger than just football. So I think that's the biggest thing about Soul, is that it shows that we're more than just football players. We care about the community, care about making other people's lives easier to live and more accessible to do things.
Yeah, I got a quick follow-up. Oh, go ahead.
No,
I just got a quick follow-up. So when the soul mission, like when someone commits and signs to Oklahoma, is that something that is voluntary for the players? Like, this is an avenue for you to go down, or is it kind of something that you're going to be a part of this? If you're going to play at Oklahoma, you need to participate and give back, or is it just, a lot of the players just do it out of the kindness of their heart because they want to help out, or how does that look?
Well, like the trips and stuff they're like completely optional, because obviously that's a lot. But the well, I've only been here for like 3 weeks, but the community service stuff we did was mandatory, but everyone was excited to do it and put their like best foot forward doing it. But I think stuff like that, like the community stuff, is like the whole team goes, but the trips and stuff aren't. Like it's optional. It's paid for, but it's optional.
I was actually going to ask something along the same line, so you kind of took my question. But what? So I kind of want to go to like what you feel people haven't really recognized about you, because I was looking through your stats before you hopped on, and I'm kind of looking at them now. You've had good years. Last year you had 6 sacks, two fumbles, 2 forced fumbles, and 30 total tackles. I feel like those are good numbers coming off. And you mentioned you didn't get to play every single game last year at Wake. Do you feel like you've been just not recognized quite yet because of the fact that you were at a smaller football program? Or do you feel like there's something that this coaching staff is going to help you develop and take you to that next level?
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason I left and chose to put my name in the transfer portal, was just because it's like Wake is a smaller school, they're not really respected when they should be, because we beat the best programs that there is. But like last year, I didn't play, or I think it was 21. I had like a great season, and it was still kind of like just brushed under the rug with scouts and just like nationwide kind of. And then last year, I was having a good year, and then I got hurt and basically didn't play the last 4 games. And then I played the bowl game, and I still put up pretty good numbers. So I think just the chip on my shoulder made me want to like keep going and try to get my name higher in the draft. Obviously, because there's way better money going undrafted versus higher in the draft. So yeah, I definitely think I have something to prove. I'm trying to get healthy, which is the first step, but definitely something to prove, just because of the underlooked part of my last few years. So
yeah. And then, as far as making the decision of, whether you go in the portal and move elsewhere, but more so on the NFL draft side, just because I'm curious, do you hear draft grades and things like that before you make the decision, or how do you make the decision on whether, to go or not to go into the NFL draft to make the, declare?
Yeah. You hear you can talk to scouts, you can talk to agents that talk to scouts, you can talk to your coaches that talk to scouts. So you get like word of mouth, but not official. And then obviously pro day helps, like the bowls and the pro days help your draft stock go up. But I just felt like personally I might as well use my last year and try to get hot, because I don't think it's going to lower my draft stock playing another year, but hopefully it raises it.
So I have a question for you off the field. You're from Connecticut. I was going through your Twitter, and it looks like you're a big sports fan. You had some thoughts on the championships games from this last week, where the refs got a little too involved, in my opinion, as well. But I saw that you were tweeting a lot about the Celtics. Are you a huge Celtics and Patriots fan, or are you on the good guy side here?
Just Celtics. I'm not a Boston fan. Just a Celtics fan. I like the Chargers, Celtics, and Yankees. So
good. All right. As long as we don't have another Patriots fan, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm not a Patriots fan.
Yeah, that's Jason Tatum's jersey right there. So I'm an all Boston fan, and the Celtics
I like Gronk.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Gronk's just one of the best. Obviously one of the best tight ends, and he's just an all around likable guy. So most people like him. But yeah, the Celtics are great. And now you got the Oklahoma City Thunder right down the road, so you're able to go see some NBA games, which is nice for that. So as far as
I went to a Warriors game last night. Warriors.
How was that?
It was good. They came back, made it interesting, but it was really cool to see Curry. Obviously, you got to see him, best shooter of all time. Not a big fan, but
yeah, I'm with you there. I'm a big LeBron guy, so kind of stole a couple of rings.
Me too.
Yeah, obviously he took one from the Celtics last year, unfortunately. But as far as, what people, obviously we're becoming more familiar with you because you're now at OU. For everyone that is watching this, what is Oklahoma getting in a player like you? I mean, who is Rondell, and what can Oklahoma expect, like, to maybe get to know you more and everything else?
I feel like I said I have something to prove. So even now in the offseason, trying to work to get my ankle right, my body right. And I think me having something to prove is gonna put my best foot forward. And even before I had like this big chip on my shoulder, I feel like I always played hard. Always just went all out for my team, and playing in front of the fans is a big motivation too. So being in front of this many people every game is going to be another motivation. So I think you're just going to get a guy that wants to make a lot of plays, wants to make a name for himself, and just has a big chip on his shoulder and ready to get after it.
I love it. I don't have any more questions. Do you have anything else for Rondell, bro?
The only thing I was going to ask, so you're on the edge, your position coach is then Coach Chavis, I'd imagine then?
Yeah.
What are some of your thoughts on him? He seems to be a very enthusiastic guy. We have never talked with him. He seems to be a character, and a lot of players really like him.
Yeah. No, that was part of the reason I chose Oklahoma, because he was easy to talk to, easy to be around. So was Coach Bates, Coach B, all of them. It felt like they wanted me, and then which translated. So it felt like I was wanted here. And just knowing their track record again was an easy decision, because they're great guys. So, and it's shown that they're also great coaches too.
No, it's good to hear. But I don't have any more questions. Jose, did you get another one, or are you good to go?
No, we're good to go. Appreciate you being on here, Rondell.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. So, we're wishing you the best, and we're glad that you're here. And so if you guys are watching this video, still made it all the way through, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, and Spotify. Everything's linked in the description below. And I say, for the end of video challenge, Jose, do you have one?
Just go follow Rondell on all social media. Make sure to help him out, and try to get those numbers up.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Definitely do that. We'll link everything in the description to your profiles below in the bio. And again, we appreciate it, and we'll be watching you this fall, and hope to have you on maybe in the future. If not, then best of luck, and hopefully OU goes and wins a national championship this fall.
That'd be cool, man. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.